Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly video game podcast from Ep.76. We are doing a What We've Been Playing. We haven't done one of these in a minute. We're going to go over all the games that we've been playing over the last month or so and just kind of have a fun discussion of all things that we love about or don't like about these games. So It's going to be a good one. Nick, how are we doing?
Doing all right. A little bit under the weather. Just trying to rest up, get good for this podcast throughout the entire weekend. Beat BioShock yesterday for the first time in a minute.
Oh, you beat it?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I finished it out. Which I was like, oh, maybe I only have like a couple hours left. No, I had like 6-7 hours left in this game, but had a great time doing it. We'll talk about that in a moment. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Almost died on the way over here. So I was talking a lot of crap to Brady about driving in the snow on the Ep.74 podcast, and I'm like, I feel like people like really overhype how difficult it is, and for the most part, I still feel that way. Though I was going into the Dunkin' Donuts / gas station parking lot, which is where I pick up our coffees from. You take a left into here, it is a straight up hill.
Oh yeah.
I get a third of the way up the hill. There's somebody behind me. I stall out and I start sliding backwards.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like just slamming on the brake and like I can't do anything. I just keep sliding. And the guy thankfully backs up and lets me go. And then I cut hard left so I can like turn back around and go back into the street and then go up the street and go into a different entrance or whatever. But that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like my life flashed before my eyes in that moment. I was like, please. And it's such a slow motion car wreck because you're just like, like backing up or whatever. It was good. But I hope that I'm not stuck here because it had just started snowing.
Yep.
When I left, but like it's going down sideways and the snow is thick. So it's like it's really just packing in immediately. So it got dangerous fast. I hope that by the time I'm leaving here, it's all good.
Connor, you can come hang out. We got the PS5. We'll boot something up. We'll play some games together.
I should have brought my new 3DS or 2DS XL that I got yesterday. I think I'm going to move off of the Vita for a minute and play just some. I just want to be on
beat FF10?
I did last night.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why I was up so late.
Oh.
And I have a whole story about that too.
Connor texted me at 1 a.m. and I was like, what the fuck? This is not Connor hours.
Speaking of that, just a side story to this. And I kind of want to just kind of loosen up or like grease the wheels here for the podcast wheels. Okay. The lowly sweet potato fry.
Yeah, what about it?
How do we feel about the sweet potato fry?
Can't stand them.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy that I think everybody, it's like pineapple on pizza. You either hate it or you love it. And I, as we talked about on the Ep.74 podcast, worked at Frisch's and they had sweet potato fries and they smell amazing.
Really?
They smell so good.
They do smell pretty good.
But then once you eat them, like when you're younger, you're like, no, I want like a regular ass French fry. Go to Trader Joe's a week ago, get a bag of the sweet potato fries. I'm like, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna give it a try. I dip them in ketchup, and last night I'm in a whole situation with Final Fantasy X that I'll talk about when we get to that game. Whip out the sweet potato fries, and I gotta tell you, man, I'm a believer now. The sweet potato fry is delicious. It is so good. I'm spreading the word of the sweet potato fry. They're great from Trader Joe's in the air fryer. There you go. Nick, I think you got to try it again.
Connor, not going to happen.
Come on.
I'm dying over here. And Connor's just like, try sweet potato. It's funny that you bring this up, though, because we did just shoot the Ep.74 podcast. Really fun. Brady, you, me. At least 2 hours of podcast content over there. You can get this type of bullshit content where we just hang out and talk about sweet potatoes over there if you are over at that Patreon level.
You don't like the sweet potato casserole either from Thanksgiving. No, it's so good. So yeah, I might be just a sweet potato stan over here, dude. Yeah. Like I'm into it.
Sweet potato stan.
Alrighty, getting into the housekeeping. This show is made possible by Patreon. Patreon.com/coop64, where a bunch of you support us over there and get a bunch of goodies for your support. At the $5 tier, you get a bonus episode of this show, the Casual Gaming Conversation, every week on Thursday, as well as early access, 3-day early access to this show and the Casual Gaming News Conversation. At the $10 tier, you get Recollecting Retro, our retro collecting show where I go to stores and go over my collection and talk about all things old in the world of video games. Then we have the Ep.74 podcast once a month where we have we all bring topics and kind of have just a general discussion podcast and just hang out. And it's a good time.
A
We
lot of
just
fun.
shot that. And then we have 2 additional bonus TikToks every other week. So 4 pieces of additional content on top of the $5 tier every single month. And then at the highest tier, you can get your name read at the end of each and every podcast, as well as submit your topics for the Club 64 podcast, which we just had Hope get their topic read at the for the Club 64 podcast, which was pretty neat.
It was.
So yeah, then the RSS feed as well. Nick got the RSS feed working. A lot of people were asking about that. It is accessible on Patreon as well. Twitch. We are finishing up Bloodborne, Bradyborn, and then we're hopping into Bioshock, Brady Shock right after that. So we got a lot of fun stuff going on over on the Monday group stream. Those posts on Tuesday on YouTube if you miss them. I am finishing up Parasite Eve probably this week or next week. Nick is playing Sifu, but we have a random Brady stream because Nick is getting surgery done on Tuesday. So Brady is playing Cocoon, a Brady stream.
I don't know if Brady's going to be Cocoon, but I'm going to be there trying to convince him to be Cocoon. It's about 4 hours it took me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I assumed it was like a 7-hour game.
Oh, no. I think you can beat in about 4. I did in 2 play sessions. But yeah, no, I hope that he beats it in one stream. But that would mean, for sure, he would have to go a little bit late. But I could see Brady wanting to beat that one. Show up, show out for Brady streams. They're a lot of fun.
Then over on... then we have the Discord and merch linked in our bio. If you want to join up with a community of almost 2,400 community members, you can come join that. Do the introduce yourself thread and say hi and join the community. We also have merch, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, if you want to support the channel that way. Lastly, leave us nice reviews on Apple Podcast services. It gets the show out to more people, and we would really appreciate that. Nick, do you want to get into the hot takes?
Yes, please.
Nick, what do we got?
My video game hot take for this week is not a hot take. It's one of those PSAs. Please, for the love of God, do not go into video games wanting to hate them. I hate it. Is that your
That's
hot
my
take?
hot take.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
It's the most frustrating thing on the entire planet, where we currently have situations where people, for some fucking reason, are out here just being like, I want this game to fail.
Yeah. Why would you want games to fail?
I don't know. I thought we all loved this thing.
Yeah.
I thought we were all like, oh, video games are cool, and like it brings people together and allows us to have fun, and it's a great way to be entertained and relaxed after long days. But no, let's go in before even touching the fucking game and be like, I want this thing to suck. This thing's gonna suck.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You can be honest with yourself and say, hey, this game looks bad. It doesn't look like it's for me. But the discourse around just reviews and previews and before games are even played, people are like, well, this game fucking blows. It's like, what are we doing?
You didn't even play it.
Yeah.
And you just made up your mind on it. And even if you don't like it or don't like the direction that it's going, you being like, oh, I want this game to sell not very well, and all these people to lose their jobs who worked on it. It's like, that just sucks.
Yeah.
You can just kind of sit back and be like, I don't like this, I'm not going to buy it, and that's totally fine. That's totally valid. But preying on something's downfall is weird in my opinion. My hot take was, I go into every game wanting to like it.
Yeah.
Why would you not? Obviously, I'm let down relatively often on certain games of where I think it's going to be and where it ends up being, but I go in with an open mind and hoping that I enjoy it.
Yeah, the worst is when we're doing this job and everything, and it's we got to beat this thing, and it's now not that great, and I just got to push forward for a review. But that's part of the job. If not, we both would probably go and just put the game down and be like, I'm not going to think about this after the fact. But we go in wanting to enjoy it.
Right.
We go in trying our best to go and find the fun and the joy out of it. And surely enough, often we do. We are excited and delighted by this medium.
And even when it's something that I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like based off of the preview material, like Hellblade 2, I go in trying to convince myself that I'm okay, really try to see the good in this. What is good about this? Hopefully I can end up liking this. And then I try, and then if I ended up, but I'm also being critical at the same time, and it ends up coming out to the score that it is, or whatever. So
for me, Silent Hill 2 is the example of the inverse, where the score ended up being really positive. But I was I don't know about the trailers we've seen. I don't know about some of the gameplay snippets we've seen. This one just might not be for me. But I'm not going into that play session and be like, this game's gonna fucking suck.
Right.
I'm going and trying to be I'm going to give this game the benefit of the doubt and let the game try to convince me otherwise. Surely enough, it did. And like I was excited, and I think that game's phenomenal from last year. So yeah, I just can't stand this discourse that's happening right now where people are just trying to be angry and upset about
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff.
I just think the negativity sells really well, and that's kind of not the space we want to be in. We will be negative about plenty of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we have takes that I think this is bad or think this is subpar, and that's totally fine. But like I don't want the focus of our content to be negativity. We love this medium. We love video games. We want to see it flourish. But and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I enjoy this medium so much, and I enjoy video games, and I want like people to enjoy it with us. And I think that positivity and seeing the light in a lot of this stuff is really important, even when there is a bunch of negative stuff that is out there that we will point out and we will call out. But like, I don't know. I just want the focus to be on the good, not the bad.
It's a frustrating conversation. It's been a frustrating week of people just like the entire discourse around Avowed, which we reviewed and everything, being like all about like this game's going to blow, like it sucks. I'm like, dude, you haven't even played it yet. Like, and the nice part is like there are Avowed is a great example. Reviews are all over the place. Like there are 6 out of 10s out there. There's 10 out of 10s out there. So like, I understand that like maybe your favorite reviewer said, "Hey, no, this game is like okay, or it's not like amazing." We're a lot higher on it, but like to go and just discredit completely everything that this game is trying to be before even playing it is insane to me.
Right,
insane.
The one thing that people keep calling out in just from the trailer, like the combat looks bad, and I was like, what? Are we looking at the same thing? Like the combat, just from like a third party like looking at it, I think it looks awesome, and then actually playing it, I'm like, yeah, it's
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and that's the other part where like I've talked to people that beat it already or have hopped in over the weekend, and there was like the combat's fucking amazing.
Everyone on TikTok seems to agree that the game is good. It's very weird. Like I think it feels like the broader games media is a little bit more mixed, but TikTok for the most part
pretty high on it. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. But we're gonna do the Avowed spoiler cast, which will go up by the time this hits free feeds. It'll go up the day after this. So if you want more Avowed content, Connor and I would probably not do a spoiler cast for a game that we like didn't really enjoy because if we just were gonna dunk on it for an hour. But I'm stoked to do that spoiler cast.
Yeah, I'm just kind of bummed that people don't like it as much as we do, because like I love this game. I think it's great. Already getting into what we've been playing. I have 7 games. Nick has 5 games. I've been rocking and rolling because of the Vita. That's really like the big thing. But also streams help quite a bit for both of us. And then I've been playing. I really haven't played anything on like the PS5 all year, which is weird.
Well, you did Uncharted 4.
Yes, but so I took off Uncharted 4. I took off Avowed because I've already like had discussions about those. But other than that, it's been so long since I played Yoshi's Island that I just like took it off or whatever, because like I played most of that in 2024.
Yeah,
so.
that's funny. Real quick, Uncharted 4 spoiler cast. I went and I listened back to that like a couple days ago, and holy hell, I think it's the best podcast we've ever shot. So that's a quick Patreon thing. If you like Uncharted 4, I do think that still it's the best podcast we've ever shot.
So hopping into it, I'm going to start with Rayman Origins, a Ubisoft published game, the same developer that made Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, that is now defunct, unfortunately. This is a platformer from, I think it's like 2009 or something. It was on everything. It was on Wii U, Vita, PS4, or PS3, I guess. Wii. I think this game is excellent. It is definitely one of the better 2D platformers of this generation, of all time, maybe. It just has such a distinct style to it that is so individualistic that like you look at it and you're like, that's Rayman or whatever. And I know that apparently Legends is even better, and I had played Legends back in the day because I remember like the music levels, and I thought that those were in Origins as well, and they are not. But it's just a lot of like different gameplay variety, some swimming levels, some where you like can like run on walls and like keep like speed from that. Lots of speed when it comes to this game, just like keeping momentum. I highly recommend this game. I don't have a ton to say on it. It's relatively long.
Really?
I think it's like, it took me like 14 hours if I remember correctly.
Whoa.
That might be on the long end though. and I might be misremembering it. I just was playing it in chunks over the course of 3 weeks or so in like 15-minute increments or so at work. But yeah, just a great game for like pick up, put down, play a couple levels, go on with your day. The collectibles are really hard to find, in my opinion. Like the platinum trophy for this is impossible. Like it's an 8 out of 10. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I just was like, I'm just going to play the game straight up. Enjoyed it. Had a good time. Rayman Origins, highly recommend it. Nick, what is your first game?
My first game is excuse me. My first game is Elden Ring Night Rain, Connor. It's fucking awesome. We're so fucking back, dude. We're so back. It's insane how back we are. We never left. This game's gonna win Game of the Year. Like, I don't actually think that, but I think that there's a world where it does get nominated. The way that they have the Elden Ring sandbox and are just able to make it different, but make it to what it needs to be for a battle royale, running around the map, collecting loot, going and fighting bosses, fighting quick groups of enemies or a little bit of mini bosses, and then leading into, hey, we're going to fight the big boss at the end of each day, is excellent. The gameplay loop is super fun. I played about 5 hours over the weekend, and I was very happy to play 5 hours. With that being said, I didn't play a sixth hour because mainly I was like, I need to take a little bit of a break. I'm a little night rained out, which I do think is an issue that this game has, where the longevity of it, I question a little bit with where this game was dropping me, how like every single time I really was just fighting the same enemies. Once again, this is a network test. This isn't a full on review of this game or anything, but like the fun and the core gameplay mechanics are there. They are great. You have your 4 classes that they gave us. I believe that there's going to be 8 at launch. You have your wizard, you have your tanky guardian, you have your swordman, and then you have a duchess that is like swift with the dagger. She was the one that I was playing as all the time. Super fun. Doing backflips. Your movement in this game is not Elden Ring at all, but it still feels as tight and polished as every single From Software game, and it is really special. It's really good. Running around the map felt right, which I felt was like, how the fuck are you going to do this sort of traversal, which in Elden Ring and other Souls-likes is a little bit more slow and methodical, running place to place, stopping, looking around the map, being amazed at how beautiful it is. This is, nope, we're just fucking dashing around, vaulting up walls. There are the wind tunnels that you would see with Torgal are now like blue mist tunnels that you go and shoot up the entire map.
Torrent.
Or Torrent. What? I did that again. It's really special, dude. This game is awesome. Like I can't believe that this exists, and I can't believe how much fun it is. And I do think that the headline of this is it's $40 worth of fun. I don't think that this is going to be your 100-hour experience, but like if you, me, and Brady play for 15 hours, 20 hours on release, where we hop in a couple nights and we're just cycling out things and then we're trying some different things and we enjoy it for like, I played 5 hours. I think that like I could play another like 20, 25, 30 hours of this and not get bored and have a fucking blast with it and fight a bunch of new enemies and really run through the entire cycle of what they're offering and then put it down and be completely satisfied and be like, yep, that's one of the best games this year.
So like, how is it differentiating between runs? Is it just like a different boss at the end, or like how does that work?
So the bosses that we had for this network test, I only played literally like 4 bosses the entire time, and night 1 would be one of 2 bosses, night 2 was always the same boss for me, night 3 was always the same boss. I never completed a run. I got so close 2 different times where I got to the final boss and we get them nice and low, and then we all get smoked by a kill move and it's game over. But I think that that's just the network test. You know, like
Right.
This is, hey, we're just trying to dial in and figure things out. It's really funny to see.
So what is the loop then? Like, are you finish out a run? Well, I guess you never finished out a run. And
So-
like, what do you get for it?
So you go, you get some loot. Basically, it might be small upgrades to your character, and then you go and are able to go back to basically the round table that you
Yeah.
see in Elden Ring, upgrade things, switch things out, and then go into another run.
How much of an asset flip does it feel like?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
But like, it's not you're in Limgrave basically, but it's a little bit different. But you're in Limgrave. The enemies that you're seeing around are the enemies from Elden Ring. This definitely is like, hey, we're just going in, basically reusing things, but it doesn't mean that there's not $40 worth of value and fun to be had here.
I'm not saying that's
Oh, yeah.
necessarily even a bad thing. I am fascinated by the way that they're handling this game and like being pretty blatant that it is an asset flip and people don't give a shit. And that's fine.
It's an asset flip when it comes to the map and the layout, but I think that the thing that this does that is so special, it's the same thing that Archery does that is so special, which is just change the core gameplay enough where all of a sudden like you are having what feels like a new experience, where in Elden Ring, base Elden Ring, it is you beat the boss, you get souls, you level up. In Archery, it is you go, you traverse the lands, you pick up skidoo trees, fragments, you level up, and you get benefits from exploring. This is the thing, like the special sauce is the movement. You are flying around. You're not, I didn't realize this, but somebody brought it up on a podcast. I don't remember who it was. I listened to a lot of podcasts yesterday as I was sick and playing video games. But somebody brought up the fact that you don't sprint with circle anymore. Because that's how you normally go and dodge roll and everything. It's just on your left stick. And so you're able to go and run around. And
you just auto sprint?
You can't. No, you have to press down and everything. Yeah. But it still feels great.
Interesting.
And when you're going around these giant boss fights and you're hauling ass in the same way that you would, it's not like when you enter a boss fight, you have that movement restricted at all. No, you are still able to run around like that. It's so impressive that even though it is an asset flip, it doesn't feel like you're crazy overpowered or anything. They understand the health of the enemy very well. Of like, yeah, we got to make the health a little bit more than they normally would be in normal Elden Ring. You got 3 people fighting at once. And then 2, we got to make sure that these bosses have moves that are able to affect 3 people at once and be able to take people down. And I think that it's really impressive. Like the entire game loop is so dialed in. Non-stop dialed in, where that's what we were doing Fantasy Critic, I'm like, I could see this getting below an 85 and like that would be such a change for FromSoft, but like at the end of the day they just have the fucking sauce.
It's just a matter of, I think that the score for this game is really going to come down to the loop of, is this something that you can keep coming back to and really get a full experience out of?
I think that the answer is yes.
Well, I feel like you can't know yet just because of the lack of additional content.
Yeah, well, that's the question of like how much additional content is there. We have 4 people that you're able to play as. It's going to be a roster of 8 for your class.
I think the big thing for Souls games is like the enemy variety and like the different bosses. And now when you only are fighting 4 bosses from your initial experience, it's like I feel like you can't really judge like, oh, it's exciting to get to the end and it's a different boss this time or whatever, or like something like that.
So that hasn't happened yet, but I can only imagine like the amount of fun that I'm having when it is the same fucking boss,
right,
and for it to be something different and new and exciting. Like, I can't imagine rolling in and being like, who the fuck's it gonna be? And then all of a sudden, Coruscant Radahn rolls up and it's just like, oh fuck, let's do this. And like, it's game time, and then having to run that. But like, I do understand the nature of this game well enough at this point that this is not going to be for everyone. This is not the Souls experience that everyone's going to want to hop into. The fact that there's no
co-op helps quite a bit.
I think that it helps a ton.
Yeah,
I think that this game also, the network test that there's going to be one more tonight that I might hop into. Just timing wise, I wasn't going to wake up at 6 a.m. for a network test when there was other options. If there was only one option at 6 a.m., I would have been there. But we haven't been able to play with our friends yet. Yeah. Like, you haven't been able to go and friend code up, which is just one of those calls that From made. And just a reminder, everyone, I've seen so many complaints about the people getting booted and all this. It's a network test. They're literally trying to go and figure this shit out. Xbox, I hate to say it,
totally fine.
No issues.
Yeah. PlayStation's just burning.
It is the Donald Glover and Community with the fucking pizza boxes and the fire.
Do you think they turned off the multiplayer because of like the PS5 issues?
I assume that was part of it.
Because was it there for the first one and PS5 just like wasn't working?
I think that the morning of that, I think that it was on because everyone expected Friday night to hop in together. I was gonna go and hit some people up in Discord or some of our content creation friends to be like, hey, like let's get a squad going. Let's play together. Right. And surely enough, immediately was like, oh, like I'm playing with a bunch of randos, and sometimes the randos pretty fucking good at Elden Ring. Sometimes the randos really trash at Elden Ring. Like when I'm hard carrying, it's not a good day on the lands between, Connor. It's tough. But yeah, no, I think that this is special. Like there is so much fun to be had. Someone needs to use this content idea. I'm not going to be able to because it's SGF right after. Somebody needs to do a stream where they do a year of Elden Ring Night Rain off the rip. So every single day, you have to do 365 days of Elden Ring Night Rain to finish the stream.
Oh, nice. Like in game?
Well, in game, yes. Someone needs to do it. That's your content idea from Two Shoes. Kai Sanat, hit me up. Use that shit. You're gonna love that. It would do fucking numbers. I would love to do that, but once again, we're not able to.
Alrighty, hopping into my next game, I'm going to talk about Nier Automata.
Ooh.
Played this on stream to start the year out. And this was a game that I had my eyes on for a very long time. I had tried it back in college, and I had a weird situation with my thumbs hurting really bad. And this game is very kind of like button mashy in a lot of ways. And I just like was like, it hurts to play this. I'm going to save this for when I'm feeling better. So booted up on stream. I like this game, and I'm really disappointed that I don't love it.
Yeah.
This is a Connor-ass game, and I respect it in a lot of ways, and I think it's really cool. And maybe I didn't give it a fair enough shake. It is worth noting because this is a big thing with this game. I only did the first ending and then did like halfway through the second one, maybe not even that. And I just didn't feel compelled to keep going. And when you're on stream, it's like I want to be having fun and like have the energy up, and it's really noticeable if you're like not really enjoying what you're doing. And I didn't really want to just push it to like play this for another month where I just like wasn't having the best time.
Yeah.
I think the combat is okay. I don't think it's like super satisfying and fun. I think that the different gameplay aspects are really interesting. There's like 2D sections where it's like a side scroller beat 'em up. Then there's like 3D action game, which is like the core gameplay with your like two different weapons, but you're also shooting during that. Like you have like a turret, and then there's like shmup like mech situations or whatever, like where you're in the sky, and that's like a whole nother gameplay situation. I think it's all really cool and really interesting. I just don't think it feels the best on the sticks. Like I'm not like really satisfied, or it doesn't feel like very punchy, maybe is the better term there. And I wish there was like more of a focus on like dodging and like in punishing. It feels like a little bit too arcadey almost for me to be fully engaged. I did die a few times, and it was really just a matter of like, if I have enough health items, I'm not dying.
Yeah.
That was like the biggest thing. Is like, as long as I am stocked up, like I'm totally fine to like kind of brute force my way through a lot of these fights. And there was some fights where I didn't have enough health items, and like I had to really dodge and really focus. And I'm like, these are fun. Like when I actually have to lock in and have like a good back and forth with the boss or the enemies. I think the world is really interesting with like the robot people and like the village of the robots, and like this whole story about like what is like human, I guess, is kind of like the
are we human or are we dancers, Connor?
A core like there's two different types of robots. There's like the one that you're playing as. There's like 2B who are like more like sentient, and then there's like the robots who are like evil, but then there's like a contingent of the robots that are like normal and like in good. And like they're like what does that mean? And it's and the overarching like story of like humanity getting wiped out, and then this group of like sentient like robots like coming to the planet and trying to eradicate the evil robot plague, I guess is what it would be called. It is interesting. It is very like high level, like lots of detail, lots of mystery to uncover, and I'm sure you get more into that as you play more of the different endings, because the second playthrough is like a completely different playthrough.
Yeah.
Light spoilers for Nier Automata. You do the first ending, and then in the second one, like you play as a different character. Like completely. Really? So you're playing as 9S in the second playthrough, and he plays a little bit differently, and it's cool. And you're running around with 2B, whereas when you're playing as 2B, you're running around with 9S. So nice. It gets you like a little different story scenario, and like there's situations where they're separated in the main story. So like he has different missions.
Cool.
I would assume.
Little Claire versus Leon stuff going on here.
Yeah, and apparently the third playthrough is like where it gets really crazy. And I didn't
You
get
play
to,
both at the same
I
time,
don't,
dual sticks.
So I don't know like how that really works, but like I see like I think it's really cool. Like
Yeah.
the ideas of this game are really cool. I just don't like playing it that much. The open world in this game is terrible, I think. Like the layout is really bad. The map is one of the worst maps I've ever experienced in a video game. It's just unusable for the most part. Early in the game, if you want to do side missions, which I think is really kind of necessary to keep up with the level, you can't just do the main missions. It is a drag because you don't have teleport to start the game, so you have to just run from point A to point B, and it's like I said, it's not fun to use the map. It's not fun to run around this open world. So like, that was bad. It's a game I respect. And it's a game I like. I just don't love it. It has so many issues that I think that if you really are into the lore and like how weird this game is and like the different endings and all of that, I can totally get it. Like I can totally get why this has such a big cult following, but I don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
So,
Connor, hit me with another one.
okay, I'm gonna rock block actually real fast.
Yeah, okay.
Two small Vita games.
Pow pow.
Lara Croft Go and Race the Sun. Lara Croft Go is a mobile game that was ported to Vita and PS4. In the Go series, there's Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go. Lara Croft Go is like a puzzle game where you're like on a grid style thing and you're like going around the map and trying to take out enemies, solve puzzles, find secrets. It is a very easy platinum. You just have to get all the collectibles. I played the game straight up at first, and then like went back and trying to find all the collectibles, and then went back and like used a guide to go through and everything. It is a great Vita game, very fun to play. What'd you look at?
I just looked up the Lara Croft Go gameplay. I want to see what this game looks like. Yeah.
I thought you looked at the Metacritic probably.
Oh no.
But it's developed by Square Enix Montreal. And like at its core, the game is great. I think it's really fun. The load times on Vita are insane. What is that?
83.
Yeah. The load times on Vita are nuts. Like, just like...
Brisk.
No.
Oh, the opposite.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It takes 45 minutes to load a level.
Dude, like, I think the load times are 2 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Like, it's bad.
Yeah, you got a full-on ad. A full
Yes.
Hulu rock block ad break.
Like, I'm just like... every single time I just like pick up my phone and look at it for a minute or two, and it's like, okay, time for the next level. Once you're in the level, runs fine. There's some frame issues, but like it's a puzzle game. It doesn't matter. Really does tickle that part of your brain that's very satisfying to solve these puzzles. I do think it gets really complicated later on, and at that point I was like, I'm looking up a guide. I was ready to be done, especially with how much time I was spending just looking at load screens. I was like, I want to platinum this game. I'm really close. There, you have to do the DLC, which is included in the like base package to get the platinum. So I did all that. Really cool.
Did you get the plat?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was
Oh,
playing.
of course. Sorry.
I was playing that
Trophy Hunter.
I was playing that for the platinum.
Yeah.
I mean, like I enjoy the game. I think it's a very fun game, but I would not have booted it up probably if I didn't know that I have the platinum for him.
What is it? 1 out of 10 on?
It is 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
It's
just a free platinum, basically.
No, it's just get all the collectibles, but the game is great.
Yeah.
And it's a fun video. Like, I'm not just playing, and like, I think there is a merit to playing this game just straight up without wanting to get the platinum. But there's plenty of games. It's like saying that Spider-Man's like basic because like you just have to like do everything. It's the same.
Dude, we need to go back and talk Spider-Man in a moment. But before I go and do a tangent on Spider-Man, real quick, do you have anything else for Lara Croft?
For Lara Croft, no. I mean, I think that if you want it on the go, it's really solid on Vita aside from the load times. But if you are interested in playing this and interested in getting an easy platinum, this and Hitman Go are really fun and very doable. I think it took me 6 hours because of load times. If you're playing on PS5 or 4, I imagine it would take you like 4.
First and foremost, we need to get Brady to play Spider-Man 1. And if Brady plays Spider-Man 1, I'll play Spider-Man 1 and do a spoiler cast with him.
Yeah.
I want to play Spider-Man 1 really badly again.
No interest.
I went in, I remember sitting down, and Matt gave me a code or not a code for it. He gave me the disc for it, and I beat it in like 3 days. And like, when I say I sped through that story, I literally flew through it. I really enjoyed it. Spider-Man 2, Connor, I'm going to say it. I was... in my dreams, Connor, in my wildest dreams, I see Silent Hill 2. No, but in my dreams, I was like, Nick, you should give Spider-Man 2 its flowers again. Because we dunk on this game so much, but I remembered like last night I was like beat by beat going through like Spider-Man 2 and just the story and like what you get to do in that game and how special some of those side missions are and everything. And I'm like, you remember when you gave that game a 9? You were right. And I'm gonna say it. I dropped my score to an 8.5. I'm bumping it back to a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, like I fucking the amount of awesome moments in that game. Just moment to moment like storytelling and like giving the fans what they want. Like this is the ultimate sandbox comic book of just like New York is just fucking wild. There's so many villains. There's so much fun to be had. Like the story beats like I think that we discredit it often for it being a story that we can just like discuss and we could have figured out ourselves of like what happens here and there. But I think that there's also like 7 different things that we could not have predicted and we didn't give it the credit for.
What is Spider-Man 1 then? If that's a 9.
Still an 8.5. I think Spider-Man 2 is better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man 2 is better. I think that the combat's better. I think that getting to play as Miles. I'm also just a Miles sucker. I still would say this Spider-Man Miles Morales is still my favorite at a score of a 9. Also, I think Miles Morales is the best Spider-Man game.
Gotcha.
But
my goodness.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I think that Spider-Man 2, because we got so negative that I forgot all the good. And then literally, I'm like delusional sleeping yesterday, trying to like just like heal up a little bit before we have these podcasts and everything. And I was like, oh, Spider-Man 2, really fucking awesome.
Yeah. So Race the Sun is the other Vita game that I was really into. And it's something that I think I'm going to be playing on and off, like on airplanes for the rest of my life.
There you go.
I love this game. It is a super basic, small indie game. I don't know how many people worked on it, but the whole concept is you're like this ship and the sun is setting off in the distance and you are chasing that bad boy. You're racing the sun and you have different pickups that you can get with some things in the way that you can run into. You're gliding in between all of these structures. You have your speed boost, you have your jump, you have the ability to pick something up that if you do run into something, it will like launch you back out. It's like a free life basically. There's also like multipliers and stuff to like get like higher scores, and it's just a matter of like getting further and further, going faster and faster, and it is so addicting. You have like your different quests, your different objectives, 4 of them at once, where you can kind of be working on them, and they're very weird and very different. Some of them are like jump 10 times in this, and you need to get the pickups or whatever, so like it can be kind of difficult to like do that. There's ones that are like only go left through an entire section, and it's like Jesus Christ, it can go crazy. Don't pick up a single multiplier, and they're everywhere, so like you have to really dodge and like not play the game naturally, like how you would. And it's just and these upgrades like get you new upgrades. So like there's other stuff that like I haven't unlocked yet. There's stuff that like you have like ship modifiers where you can, it's like a magnet where you can drag the multipliers or the upgrade or like the jump or the speed boost. You don't have to be like right on top of it to pick it up, stuff like that. It's great. You are going so fast too. Like it is,
race.
And once you finish one, it's like again. It's the perfect kind of game for like I have 30 minutes. Let me kill 30 minutes. Nobody's playing this game in 2025 for sure. I think it's excellent, especially on mobile. I was playing on Vita. Perfect for that. Highly recommend it.
All right, Metroid Prime. Pretty good video game, like a 6 out of 10. No, this is like one of the best games ever, dude. Like it's legitimately, arguably one of the greatest games of all time. It is the classic example of, is this one of my favorite games of all time? No, not even close. Like this wouldn't probably be my top 50, maybe even top 100 favorite games ever. Is this one of the greatest games of all time? Yeah, probably in the top 10. From sound design and just being able to explore this Metroidvania in first person is just like unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The kit that you get throughout the game and the power-ups feels like you're playing a Zelda game, but with a gun. And I know this might sound dumb to a lot of people, but when I play Zelda games and like getting the kit, that doesn't feel super satisfying to me. In this game, it felt perfect. I was like, holy shit. I can finally go and wall ride into like one of a morphball and everything. And I saw that in the lava level. So now I can go and get there. And like that satisfying aspect of being able to traverse the land differently and it be all within the same section really worked for me compared to something like Zelda where it is like, okay, like you're going to get this a power up and then you're going to be within like a new area in like 15 minutes. So you're not even like really getting to enjoy how interconnected the level design is, and that was really impressive to me. Shooting things in games is really fun, and shooting things in this game is really fun.
It must be nice to have the second stick too,
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to be able to aim, because on it just auto locks for
On
you
GameCube?
on GameCube.
Yeah. By the way, I played the remastered, which
Looks ridiculous, dude. I
gorgeous.
played Metroid Prime on GameCube a few years ago. That was one of the first GameCube games I played, and holy shit, dude! Like Metroid Prime Remastered is like a new game.
Might be Metroid Prime Remake. It might be one of those that they should have just called it Metroid Prime Remake,
Yeah, I
and it would
agree.
have gotten some goatees. But yeah, no, this game's unfucking believable. Like I love playing games that feel like I'm legitimately going back to a year, getting the history, and being blown away still to today. I feel like all the fucking time we hear like, hey, like when you're reviewing or discussing an old game, you got to put yourself in the shoes, like, and give it a score that like you would back then. And we disagree with that wholeheartedly. We're always just like, no, like am I having fun today? Like we're discussing this today. We got to bring it up as today. And Metroid Prime is one of those examples of like, Metroid Prime is as fun and as good as most games today, if not better. Like it is one of the greats. It holds up amazingly. Shout out to everyone that was helping me while I was streaming it. Yes, the level design is a little bit crazy sometimes. Yes, they should go and have a guaranteed way to help pinpoint you in the next direction that you need to go to get the next weapon or the next boss fight a little bit better. Just like give me a little bit less time of running around the map aimlessly waiting for the question mark to go and appear.
Right.
And so yeah, I would probably give it like 9.5 out of 10. Like I think it legitimately is one of the best games ever. But yeah, it's not one of my favorites.
Next up for me, I have Dragon's Crown. I'm going to save the two big boys for last, Parasite Eve and Final Fantasy X. Dragon's Crown, developed by Vanillaware of Unicorn Overlord fame. This game is great, and I respect the hell out of it. It's not my general cup of tea, but I really did enjoy a lot of aspects of it, and I can appreciate what it's going for and what it is, and I think that it's something that I will go back to eventually and play other run-throughs. So Dragon's Crown is like a 2D beat 'em up style game, where 2D like action RPG. And you play as like a different, you choose your class. I was a knight, and you run around with either NPCs or online companions in these levels, getting loot, fighting enemies, going to the final boss and taking them out, and going back to your tavern. Yes, there we go. Going back to the tavern and deciding what you're going to keep and what you're going to sell. And then running it back. It's all about looting and scooting, getting better stuff, getting better abilities, leveling up your character, and then eventually getting to the final finale, getting the Dragon's Crown, and then doing it again. Like I think that a big part of this game is doing it like on hard mode, and then there's an even harder mode on top of that, where you can get even better stuff. And like it's like so replayable because of that. You're expected to replay a lot of these missions over and over again. You have little tasks that you can do within the missions to get more XP, to like help modify it. There's I think 9 or 10 stages, and there's a B path for all of them. Where that was like I finished all of them, and then I was like, okay, now go through all of them again and do the B path. But I was like level 15, and like the lowest one was level like 20, and I was like, fuck, I need to like grind
get up there
and do some of these side objectives and figure that out. I think that the art style in this game is crazy. It is so gorgeous how good it looks on Vita, on PS4, on everything that it's on. Like it looks amazing. Does have the ridiculous Vanillaware character design. Everybody is thick.
I literally looked up gameplay, and when I looked up Dragon Quest, it was some thick characters.
Yeah,
Connor.
I mean, like even the knight is just big,
Big
bulky.
boy.
Yeah, like he's huge.
He's huge.
So yeah, so that might be a turnoff for some people. I totally get that, but yeah, I think this game's fun. I imagine it's even more fun with like co-op. I've heard like great things of just like playing it with other people. It would be a blast, and I can totally see that. I didn't play online at all. Just had you can like set your party. You can like pick up bones and then go resurrect the people.
Oh, nice.
And then they can like join you. Yeah, I by the time I was done with it, I think it's like a 10-hour first run through, and I was like, I think the expectation is like, okay, now do it with a different character, and do it with all the characters, and then do it on hard mode, and take on like the more difficult challenges and everything, and like that's the whole point of it. I just was like, I'm ready to play something else. So it's not a very difficult platinum. It's just a time consuming one, and I could see myself kind of like chipping away at it. There's like this and Odin Sphere they also made, and Muramasa Rebirth is on Vita as well. I own all of those games, and I think they're all in this same style. I just the core of what I want to get from this, and the point that I want to put out there is I just love when a game has a timeless art style. This is what people should be going for, is like make something that's going to look great forever. It's like this like watercolor or painting or whatever. Like it's gorgeous. Yeah, so Dragon's Crown, great game.
Next up I'm gonna do Ghost of Tsushima. I really have been enjoying this. I've not beaten it. I'm about 8 hours in, so I'm not going to go all in on this because I will eventually do on what we've been playing, talk about beating this game. I want to beat this game this week is sort of my goal. I'm going to absolutely gas pedal it while I am recovering from surgery. I'm not going to be doing anything on Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's all I plan on doing. I say that, and then you know what it's going to be. I'm going to be sleeping and laying in bed and not playing
watching
games.
Crappy TV or something.
Yeah, been watching New Girl again recently.
Great show.
So fucking funny.
I think that we've had this discussion. Like we grew up watching like How I Met Your Mother. That was like our big sitcom growing up. We're not Friends guys. You like The Office. I love Parks and Rec. I think New Girl might be my favorite of all of those shows.
Rewatching it, I can boldly and confidently say Parks and Rec is a better show.
Really?
Yeah. New Girl has moments that is just like the funniest shit on the planet.
Yeah.
Like it makes me laugh so hard when it makes me laugh.
There is nothing in Parks and Rec that makes me laugh as hard as New Girl.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah. But the story of New Girl, like the plot, is sometimes like really bad, like legitimately bad. Like I'm not enjoying the direction that they're taking a lot of these characters.
I also
often.
didn't finish it.
You never finished New Girl?
I don't think I watched the last season.
Oh my god!
Because I heard
last
it was
season's
great.
solid.
Oh.
Last season's solid. It honestly, when it comes to storytelling, it is the best season of the show.
Yeah, but storytelling isn't what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
like,
you're just,
New Girl. I'm
you're
looking
just
for
looking for laughs.
shenanigans.
But also sometimes there's certain episodes that I'm like, this just is. Excuse me, this isn't like the funniest thing ever. But then there's the moments that you're legitimately rolling and laughing. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to go all in on Ghost. But I where I currently stand, 8.59 ish. Like it's an amazing game. It's a great game. I'm not where Brady is with it. I'm not where I think even you are with it, where you put it in your top 50 games ever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far for me. But I think that it's a great game. Like I think that I'm really excited to play it and beat it because I'm really excited for Yote and like what that's gonna have to offer, and I'm really excited to see what Sucker Punch can evolve with this type of franchise and title. But like I think that the combat is fucking awesome. Open world, great. Stories, all right. I'm not in love with Jin yet, where I think that a lot of people get to a point where they are. Once again, I'm 8 hours in. This can completely
I
fucking
never
change.
really fell in love with Jin either. I think he's a great character, but I wouldn't say like he's like my favorite PlayStation character of all
And then
time
the open
like that.
world,
Not even close.
The open world, as someone that normally isn't an open world guy, the open world is getting me to do what the open world wants me to do, which is, hey, there's a bird, there's a fox, whatever. All of a sudden, I'm no longer going with the wind, but I'm tracking shit down.
Oh, the wind is the best.
Oh, well, no, I'm saying the wind is awesome. I'm now going away from the initial tracking point because of the fox or the bird.
That feature is like one of my favorite features in video game history.
The fact that there's no upper UI telling me where to go and there's like markers everywhere and it is just like it gets to be so clean is one of the best features in any game ever. Well, 100%.
You can just look around rather than like in GTA, like looking at the side corner with like the line. It's like, okay, that's where I have to follow. It's like you're just immersed in the world, which I love.
It's great. And I think that the combat is exactly what I want that combat to be,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's like necessarily spectacular. I think that it's just really fucking great. So yeah, I'm stoked to play more of this. It was funny when yesterday I'm deciding what do I do. Do I basically like gas pedal Bioshock and beat Bioshock, or do I go and play more Ghost and put another. I knew yesterday my day was like, okay, you're going to be sleeping a lot, and then when you're awake, you're going to be playing games and just drinking water and trying to heal up. And I decided to do Bioshock instead. But now I'm excited to play more Ghost, and I will give you guys more impressions when I finish that one out.
Alrighty. Final Fantasy X.
Wait, is this your last one? Oh, no, yeah, Parasite Eve
as well.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X. I have for a long time have been saying this is the first Final Fantasy you should play. Pretty confidently.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel that way anymore. I think that there's a lot here to love. I still think this is an 8 out of 10 game. I think it is a great video game. I think I like it less than 6 now, if I'm going to be honest. I think
just a masterpiece for a lot of people. Arguably the greatest JRPG ever. Yeah, I like it a little bit less than
6
that.
is my third least favorite.
Yeah. Which, once again, though, you like your second favorite is 13. So
yeah. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, honestly. But I think that if a lot of people who are trying to get into Final Fantasy, they're coming from a place of, I like The Last of Us, I like Uncharted, I like God of War. Like what should I play to get into Final Fantasy? If you tell them Final Fantasy X and they get through some of this dialogue in some of these sections, I think they're going to bounce off.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to be like, no, I can't do it. And I do think that for me, my tolerance for anime cringe is what I think some would refer to it as, is very high. And even I'm just like, okay, like some of this is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think that the writing, generally speaking, is all over the place. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's really bad. I don't think that the voice acting, the voice delivery is really that bad, is what a lot of people would point to it as like the problem here, is they think the voice acting is bad. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just think it's the writing. And that's not to say that the plot isn't excellent. I think the plot of this game, the overarching story, is very good. I like the ideas here are excellent of like dealing with like religion and like your whole worldview kind of coming crashing down around you, and like mortality and stuff like that. And there's a love story going on. Like there's a lot of great stuff here that I think is really in set in a backdrop of a really unique world, this like Mediterranean style Final Fantasy that is so unique in the franchise and really in video games in general, that like it's really just a great world to be in. And I do like a lot of these characters. I wouldn't say I'm in love with all of them. Like Titus is fine. Yuna is great. Orin is the star of the show. I like Waka quite a bit. Lulu's awesome. Kamari is kind of whatever. Riku is kind of whatever.
There's Riku?
Yeah, with 2 Ks.
Okay.
Ricky's
back, baby. He's back.
She gets just introduced, I think, a little bit too late for me to like care as much about her as I wish that I did. So I think that from the writing perspective, not great. Voice acting, okay. Characters, solid. Plot, excellent. Gameplay. This is the big kicker for me, because I do think that this has some of the best gameplay in the series. I think that it is a very fun game to just kind of dig into the different mechanics. The sphere grid is a super fun way of upgrading. Like you have like these grids and you all start on your own like respective point. Like where like this is the Dragoon or whatever, and or the blue mage. This is like Orin's like kind of like more of like a bruiser type. He has like these break abilities where he can like break the enemy or like take down the enemy's defense or take down their magic defense and stuff like that. Lulu's your black mage, where she has like fire and water and everything. And then eventually, like you can like you fill that out, and then eventually you'll end up in somebody else's. So everybody can be everything technically,
nice.
But you can kind of like work towards like someone else or whatever. Like with Yuna, she's the white mage. You can like kind of work towards Lulu's stuff and start getting her to like have like black mage abilities or whatever, so she can like start torching people. But I think if you're playing this game naturally, like just going through the story, and there isn't like a ton of side content in this game that's like kind of sprinkled throughout. It's really kind of packed into the end. You're not getting that far into the sphere grid.
Oh.
Like you're not. I mean, like I got further this time than I did the first time I played it, but like I barely scratched the surface of this. Like you need to do other stuff to really dig into the mechanics of this game, and I think that's kind of a bummer because at first this game is very basic. It's like, if there's a flying enemy, Waka uses his blitz ball to throw it, and they're weak to that. If there's a slime enemy that is fire type, you use Lulu and you use ice on them, and it's like, okay, like it's just very, and you can change out your party like on the fly, like in battle to like meet the needs of the fight. If there's something with armor, you use Orin because he's like the bruiser and he can like slash through that. It's like, okay, it's a lot of just kind of hitting the same thing over and over again. Then, like, once you get to the comm lands, like, later in the game, that's when it really kind of breaks open, and there's so much more complexity, and these boss fights get crazy, and, like, having to think about, like, how you're going to strategize on, like, use the break here, use Haste Daga, and make you have more turns, slow the enemy, and really enjoy this whole system. It kind of bums me out that early game doesn't feel this satisfying at all. And by early, I mean the first 75% of this game, like, doesn't have this level of complexity that I'm really looking for. And then once I'm now at the end game, I want to dig into more of the side content, and like you go after the optional Aeons, which are like your summons, and like to go get Anima, it's like you have to do like X, Y, and Z to even get to that point. And it's like, do I really want to do that? I just want to go fight the damn thing and do the fun thing, but I have to do bullshit to get to that point. So that's kind of frustrating. But now, having beaten the game, I'm almost more compelled to go do the side stuff because I'm like, I just like this world.
Yeah.
I like these characters. I like this combat so much that like I kind of want to go through the bullshit and get the celestial weapons and get the optional Aeons and do the dark Aeon fights or whatever, like, and do like the secret bosses and really and fill out the sphere grid completely. I do think that I would like to chip away at this and maybe eventually platinum it. It's not a very difficult platinum, it's just a time consuming platinum. But I will say this is the finale of the story, because I think this game is great. I think I might do a return to retro on this.
Okay.
Just like a full written review, because I have lots to say about it.
Dude, do a recollection retro. Just get the fucking case out, open it up, show the game, and then go for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. There's no skipping cutscenes in this game. So if you die on a boss, you get sent back to your last save, and you have to rewatch. This is not a spoiler. Very, very light aspects of this game. Final boss, you go to the section, and before you get into the final boss fight, you have to run around in this arena where there's like these spikes coming out of the ground, these ice spikes, and if one of them hits you, it initiates a fight. And you're trying to pick up these like little orbs. You need 10 of them, and they give you weapons and stuff that are like powerful, but I had already had powerful weapons. I didn't need them, so I was just kind of like skipping through that. I didn't even put them on or anything, but that takes like 10 minutes. Then the cutscene takes like 5 to 7 minutes, and you can't skip it.
Yep.
And then this boss is the hardest boss in the game for like the base game. Yes. And it's ridiculous. It takes me like 3 or 4 tries. Finally beat him, having to go through this whole thing over and over again, which is so annoying. Beat him. The final cutscene is playing. Error.
Oh, damn.
Game crashes. Which I had one crash the entire game before this. Game crashes, lose that, have to go back.
Oh, I would have just been like, I beat it. And then...
No, so here's the situation though. There's a final fight after this where you can't die. It's like kind of like a gimmick fight, but like so there's more to it. And I'm not.
There's more game to be played.
I'm rolling the credits. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I get sent back. It takes me 4 more tries.
Oh,
it's 1 in the morning. That's why
you got because like no joke. I would say that I stay up on the late end nowadays is 1 a.m. Like that is my hard cutoff. I normally try to sleep by midnight, and then that really means that I go to bed at 12:30. That is like my that is my schedule. That is what I do. So I wake up this morning. I went to bed last night at 11:30 because I was sick and I just needed sleep. And so I wake up and I see text 1:03 a.m. and you're just like, hey, this video had an editing issue. You need to fix it. I was like, I wasn't shocked at that. I'm pretty sure I just thumbs up it as like that's a normal text between us. But like, I was like, 103 in the fucking what the fuck? Like
Yeah.
you are never ever up that
I
late.
just slammed some sweet potato fries, and because I started making them because I knew I had to rewatch the cutscene again. I was
There
like,
you go.
fuck it, I'm just gonna start making this right now because I know I have 7 minutes before the the fight starts again or whatever.
There you go.
But yeah, I think this game's great. I think it is a great Final Fantasy. I think that it has problems and problems that I can personally excuse, but I do not think the vast majority of people who are trying to get into Final Fantasy are going to excuse it.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are. I mean, like
Well-
if you're like really into like anime and really into like this like
Anime. I think that that's probably the
yeah. But even then it's like I don't know, like anime voice acting and everything has gotten so good. Like
Yeah.
that like I don't know. I don't know.
So what would you recommend? What would be the Final Fantasy you recommend?
I think you got to go 7 remake probably.
Come to the dark side, Connor. By the dark side, I mean the best side.
I think
Come
16
on.
is a fine place to start too.
Yeah.
It has a lot of the attributes of a great Final Fantasy game that I think it's a good jumping on point, and then you can kind of go from there. Though I do think playing something that is turn based is kind of important.
Okay.
I think that having like that's the history of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It really is. Like so 9 I think is a good place to start as well. I think 7 original is a solid place to start if you can put up with the visuals, which personally I don't give a shit about.
I think that that game has some level of beauty to it. It's not
I
perfect.
mean, the
but
pre-rendered
it's-
backgrounds are gorgeous.
Yeah, like,
I mean, they just I will always be a fan of that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, Sifu. This is a great game. 8 out of 10 game. And I disagree with the initial assertion that you had years ago, being like, this is the only game that demands you to master it.
I'm not saying it's the only game. I'm just saying it is the best example and pushes you in a way that I think other games don't.
I think that Cuphead and Souls games are other examples that I prefer, and I also think are a similar level of difficulty at time. I think that Cuphead is a more difficult game than this.
They're just bendable is my argument, where like you can modify those games to a way to help you get through some of these situations. Doing Rivers of Blood against Melania or whatever like makes that easier.
Yeah, but like Cuphead, I think is very similar to, yeah, sure, you can go in, add a different shooter or whatever, and then when it comes to Sifu, there are the shrines where you can upgrade and go down a different path and everything, and that is a little bit different, but similar enough to me. Anyways, I think it's a great game. Art style, unfucking believable. The level design and the levels in this game are just fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like they are art. At any moment, you could stop, look around, and be like, hell yeah. The music in the club, fucking bumping. I just need to throw that one out there. Do I have like a long point of that? No.
The sound design
Is it
of this
awesome?
game.
Yes.
Sound design in this game in general, like the punches.
Yeah.
It just sounds so good or whatever.
Yeah.
And like hitting somebody with a stick or throwing a bottle at them, like it all feels great.
Yeah, it feels amazing.
Sounds great.
So yeah, I love this game quite a bit. Like I think that it's one of the best that we've had in the past like generation and everything. It was on our bracket. I forgot where it landed. Oh, it went up against God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, years ago you tried to convince me that this game was better than Ragnarok.
It's definitely better than Ragnarok.
It's not. No. I allowed you to convince me so because I hadn't played it yet. And you're like, dude, trust me. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Just
I'm
insane.
obviously the minority on that. Like
What would you give Sifu?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't thought.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that one. Did you ever beat it?
No, I skill diffed. Like
you just
skill
had to put it
issue
down?
or whatever. Yeah, I just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
But I mean, I'm gonna end up beating it and then wave it over to you as a banner of why I'm better than you at games. Even though my previous assertions of particular games don't actually matter in this conversation. Anyways, I think it's a great game. I really do enjoy it. Streaming it, not the way to play this fucking game.
Yeah.
Being distracted and looking over, once again, I love the chat and I'm going to read the chat. I'm not blaming the chat. I'm the one who chose to do this on stream and everything. But like, it is a little bit distracting. And but yeah, I'm getting through it. When you start to hit those dodges and those blocks proper, it's as
amazing.
good as the best of the best when it comes to dodging in Elden Ring and defeating certain bosses in other games. Yeah, I think that this game is fucking rad. I think more people should play it. It's also like only like $20, I believe. So I would try it if you hadn't yet, because it is really special. I do think that this team, I'm stoked to see what the soccer game is.
Fifu.
Bifu.
is what
The
people.
Beat-fu? Or is it? Oh, no,
like FIFA. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I think that this is a great video game. It's not as good as something like Metroid Prime that I previously discussed, and it's not as good as the game I'm going to discuss next, but it is a really great game, and it's been a fun stream game. It is lasting longer than I thought it would. So I think that I'm going to probably just play this until Monster Hunter.
How far away? Oh, we're 2 weeks away from Monster Hunter?
Well, I only have 3 streams left till Monster Hunter.
Jeez. Really? Holy crap.
Because I'm no longer on Tuesday stream, so it is Thursday and then normal week. And then, dude, Monster Hunter comes out, and then me and Brady the next day are shooting The Last of Us Drunk Explains. And then that night, Connor, Elimination Chamber, WWE.
Oh, Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I think that Brady and I are going to time things very well, where we're going to have those beverages right at we're going to finish shooting that, and then like 10 minutes later, we're going to go and DoorDash some food, and boom, Elimination Chamber right on. Cena's going to come in, win it, hopefully, obviously, and then we're going to have a good time leading into WrestleMania, dude. Connor, what's your last game?
My last game is Parasite Eve on the PlayStation 1, Squaresoft. This game rules. This is a Connor-ass game in every conceivable way. It is a horror RPG style game, which is something that like I've never heard of before. You stop time, and like if the enemies are like in range of your character, you can like, you have a set number of bullets. You have ATB that like is filling up like it's Final Fantasy VII.
Hell yeah.
And you can attack using that. You have different like powers and abilities that you can use to fight off these foes. But you're running around these areas like it's Resident Evil or something. Like, it is so gorgeous with its pre-rendered backgrounds. Its character design is so cool, so 90s. Tetsuya Nomura did the character design, so of course I'm in love with it. I think it looks awesome. The story is wacky and weird. Those pesky mitochondria, dude, they're out to get us. The enemy design is freaky. I think that if I played this as a kid, I would have been like terrified. But as an adult, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's kind of silly at the same time as it is like scary. So it's just kind of fun and wacky. I'm engaged with the story. I think it's very interesting. The combat, I think, is basic but fun. And it's very breezy to get through. It's not like the combat isn't hanging me up like a lot of old games sometimes do. It's like where it's like I'm playing the combat and understanding that it's old and like has problems because of that. But here, like, yeah, I don't feel that way. It's old, but like it's still fun and easy to get through. So like it's really not like a problem in any capacity, and it's doing something really weird and interesting. So I kind of appreciate it. Star of the show here. The music. Yoko Shimomura. Did not know that she did the music for this, the composer for Kingdom Hearts. It all makes sense.
Yep.
This is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in any video game ever. Like, yeah. I would put this in my top 5, probably, at this point.
Top 5, not 5.
Yeah.
Not 5.
Like, it's excellent. It's like, just go listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, or come watch the stream.
I watched a couple. I think I've watched you stream this for roughly 3 hours out of the 6 that you've done, and
I think I have 2 more streams of this, probably.
And you want to know that's going to lead perfectly into Monster
Hunter,
baby.
I thought I would finish this upcoming week, but I don't really want to push it. And like, the pace wasn't great last streams for like me, like getting through it. So I think it's going to take 2 more, and I don't want to rush it because, like I said, like this game is maybe going to end up in like one of my in my top 30, 40, so 20, I don't know, games of all time. Like, where I really just adore everything that it's doing. I highly recommend it if you're okay with playing something a little bit older. It's available on PS3 and Vita as like PS1 classics. It's not on PS4 or like any modern consoles, or you can play it on PS1, which is where I'm playing it. 2 discs, which I love that shit, where you have to like change over the disc when you get like halfway through the game. So I should be coming up on that probably soon. Yeah, this game fucking rules. So.
Yeah, it does. Like everything I've seen, it seems awesome. I'm not interested in it at all, which is it's just part of the PS1 era, like where like certain games I'm like, fuck yeah, load me up, baby. And then Parasite Eve, not so much. But
I'm excited to play the second one at some point. I think I might do that on stream.
Cool.
I don't think right after or anything, but like eventually.
yeah, that's one that we can throw on the
And I've
schedule for sure.
seen video footage of Parasite Eve 2. It's like, holy shit. Like the graphical upgrades between games on the PS1 is insane. Are you looking up right now?
No, I'm just adding it to your games. Parasite Eve 2.
All
right.
Nick, hit me with some Bioshock.
4 out of 10. The game fucking sucks.
Yeah.
No, Bioshock's one of the greatest games ever. Simple as that. Going back and playing through this for the first time in about 5 years, it is amazing. It is so good. I think that the big part of coming back to this was this versus Bioshock Infinite, which we played last year. But
Right.
like I had that context added to this playthrough, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I enjoy Columbia more than Rapture. I think that I enjoy the gameplay in Bioshock Infinite more than Bioshock 1. And I think Bioshock 1's still the better fucking game. Like, Bioshock 1 has the the obvious sauce. So much so, I think it might be the sauciest game ever.
Yeah.
Like, when we talk about Bloodborne, we talk about the sauce, and I agree that I think the best part of the entire game is the sauce, where it is the atmosphere. I think that I just need to remove sauce from my vocab and just use atmosphere, because that's what it is, right? The atmosphere in Bioshock 1 is fucking brilliant. It is the best of the best. There is literally nothing better than the Bioshock 1 atmosphere of it is the big daddies and you're underwater, and when you're going place to place and you are in the tubes and like where you are able to look around the world in the underwater environment, it is simply stunning.
The lighthouse into the ocean or whatever,
Yeah.
like that first initial scene
Plunge.
Rapture is like it's like maybe one of the most iconic moments in video game history. So
Yeah,
so good.
It is amazing. And then obviously like, oh, there's the twist and everything and like stuff like that.
Twist
and,
is
like,
good.
Yeah, but the story's fucking great.
Yeah.
The story's so good. And honestly, I think that the twist, even though it is iconic, is not what makes this game special. It is the thing that comes up immediately, but I do think that it is the moment-to-moment gameplay, running around there being big daddies. I think that the whole world is so dark. Like, it is like really spooky and scary and eerie, but there are those flashes of those bright reds that are subdued in darkness. Like, you can see the colors pop when they should pop, for example, like a signage outside, but when you go inside and it should be that, but then for example, like the pipes of the lighting or have like black splotches on it to make it a little bit darker. I'm like, this world is so lived in and it's so beautiful and gorgeous.
Right. Splicers, dude, those are awesome.
Splicer.
Awesome enemy.
Just tossing shit at you. But yeah, like going around and I played this game 2 times over. I've never harvested a little sister before. I always just rescue all of them. Going around and having that gameplay loop is awesome and so cool, and like giving you the player the option to, hey, do you want to go and side with this or that? And morally you get like the high ground, but you get less goodies when it comes to that decision. Just like, I fucking love this game. I think that
Are you gonna play 2?
I think that I will play 2 eventually.
Yeah.
I already own 2. So it's like,
Right.
might as well give it a shot eventually. But like with just the review schedule and Ghost and like even bringing up Spider-Man 1 and like getting Brady to hop in on that sounds like a lot of fun. Do you know Brady's playing a game right now that he won't tell me?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what
On his trip?
I don't know if it's on the trip, but he goes and he's just like, hey man, don't check the debit card statements. I was like, okay, I'll let you play whatever you want. But here's the thing, I think that I deduced it. Let me pull up this text exchange, because this is prime me and Brady's back and forth, everyone.
So it has to be a you game if he's not texting both of us.
Exactly. Let me break this down. Buying a game on the company card, don't ask questions. KK, save the receipts. By the way, I know what game it is, but I still need you to get the receipt. Yeah, I got an email receipt. What game is it? I said, I think it's Metal Gear Solid, and I think you're going to let me know you beat it to cash in for the belt. He said that's definitely a possibility. I said, if you're going to play Hi-Fi Rush, it would have been on Game Pass, so you wouldn't have to charge the card. I'm reading your mind, Brady. I'm in your walls, and I'll probably see the game when you bring your PS5 over on Monday, unless you beat it before then. Unless you're playing it on the Switch to play it on the plane. This just got deep. And then he sent me an Elmo gif going, I don't know. And then we talked other business stuff. I asked about health bars for a video edit. But like, I think that there's a chance it is Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
That'd be
awesome.
so fucking good.
Yeah.
If he just comes over and he's like, yeah, I'll be Metal Gear Solid on Monday stream, I will straight up lose my shit. But back to Bioshock, I'm stoked for Brady to play this. I cannot wait. This is a stream that you and I need to dial it in when there's dialogue being brought up, because it is a lot of just overhead dialogue as you're running around the world. When we bring up Ghost and we talk about the UI and how there's not like a consistent direction and a bunch of markers and everything. Same with this game and the storytelling. Obviously, you pick up the diaries, you get more world, and they're brilliant.
Those audio diaries are like the best part of the game.
Yeah. Excuse me. But when you go and play this game, there's not really a lot of cutscenes. There's only like 2 cutscenes, I think, in the entire playthrough. And because of that, the storytelling of like the main story is so fucking good. It just lets you live in the world. It makes sure that the player is not pulled out of the experience ever. And it's so fucking impressive. I think that Bioshock is not only going to be looked at as like this timeless classic, best game, one of the best games ever. One of those answers that if anyone asks, hey, what's the greatest game of all time? And they said Bioshock, it's a totally right answer. Yep. But I think that we need to look back and be like, when it comes to atmosphere, I think that there's 3 right answers at what has the best atmosphere in video games. It is Silent Hill 2, it is Bioshock, and it is Bloodborne. Those are the answers. And I think that anything else other than that is like unacceptable. I know those are 3 of your favorite games ever. But like,
no, I mean like, but I don't know what would beat a lot of those for atmosphere.
Yeah, because you like, I think that Silent Hill, by the way, Silent Hill 2 is, in my opinion, the worst of those games, but I think it might have the best atmosphere with just like how fucking eerie and lived in that world feels and everything. But like, dude, Bioshock Rapture is just so
good.
So good. It might be the GOAT. It might be the best of the best. It is brilliant.
All right. Ready to draft?
Sure. Do I have the first pick?
I think I do.
Okay. You got it.
Today, we are drafting Super Smash Brothers stages, arenas. And with my first pick, I'm going to go with Final Destination. The most basic of maps, but it's the classic. It's where it's where you decide who is better at this game. It's the final showdown, okay? Final Destination with my first pick.
It's the final showdown? You mean the final destination? With my first pick, I'm going to choose Battlefield. Let's just be boring. Let's have vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Let's just Battlefield's fucking awesome. It is the stage you choose time and time again, and more often than not, you choose the Battlefield setting of a different stage just because you want it to be basic, but also you want the cool background and everything. But Battlefield itself is iconic in its own right. It is awesome. Next up, I'm going to choose Pirate Ship.
Fuck
yeah,
I love that stage.
Toon Link, a great addition to the roster. The Wind Waker art style is just so fucking gorgeous, and that's an easy second pick.
As
for
somebody
me.
who plays as Ike, it's like the best stage because I can just zip across, and then when people are on like the ship mast or whatever, I can go up and down or whatever. Oh my God,
Ike is just nasty on the X and Y axis, and that's really it.
Yeah. With my second pick, I'm gonna pick Temple. Another Zelda map. This is where if you're playing 8-player Smash, it's like perfect for that. But even then, this has just come back over and over again. Iconic status. There's that one area right in the middle where you'll just like bounce around if you're a high percentage or whatever, and it's hilarious. Super fun. Love this stage for my second pick. For my third pick, I'm going to pick a stage that has some stage hazards, but they're not that annoying, and it's iconic and cool. Pokemon Stadium. I mean, like, you gotta love Pokemon, and just having them, the stage like change over and over again and have them in the background or like a part of the stage, really cool. So Pokemon Stadium as my third pick.
With my third pick, I'm going to choose Corneria, I believe is how it's pronounced. It is the Star Fox ship. It's a perfect layout, and it's so odd because it's not like oh, there's platforms and you're able to go in up sword or down smash through certain areas. No, but the layout is so freaking good, and the verticality and the secret spots you can go and hop to. It's just awesome. It's a great map. It also has some sauce to it. It's got a cool style to it, and I really do enjoy it. Next up, I'm going to choose a complete personal pick. This is not for anyone. It is just for me. I'm going to choose Mario Galaxy. Like,
I have that on my list.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, dude, like 8-player Smash when it came out and everything, this was the map. This was
gorgeous.
the go-to. It's beautiful. I love Mario Galaxy. Like, this is awesome. Like, and for me, the memories that I've had on that map, I'm staying up till like 4 a.m. just rerunning this map, 8-player Smash. It was so much fun. And that is why it is my fourth pick.
With my fourth pick, I'm going to go with Bridge of Eldin, the Twilight Princess Zelda stage. We have a lot of Zelda representation on here. Just a flat stage that kind of has a stage header come through in the middle of the fight and blow out the middle of it, but still, like, that adds like a nice little level of chaos into the map. But otherwise, like, it's pretty straightforward and it looks great. Love the like sunset in the background. Love playing on this stage. With my final pick, I can go with like a personal thing, or I can go with the right choice. Shoot. With my final pick, I'm going to go with Shadow Moses. Snake. Metal Gear Solid. There's a Metal Gear in the background. It's awesome, dude. And it also has like the walls on the side that like need to be broken down to like launch somebody out of it, which I think is a pretty cool factor when it comes to that stage.
Last pick, I'm going to choose Hollow Bastion.
You have two more. Oh, wait, no, you have one more.
No, I got one more. Last pick, I'm going to choose Hollow Bastion, the Bass. Like, it's everything that I wanted the Kingdom Hearts map to be. If you could choose one map, I'm happy that it is that. I did have a really cool thought of like, if it could be the circle arena that you get to at the start of Kingdom Hearts and everything, that would have been cool.
Well, you do get transported there at the end of the stage.
Yes. Yeah. But it being the Bass, like, the majority of the time and everything is fucking awesome, and the Hollow Bastion team is undefeated. So many honorable mentions.
You're the only one who calls that the Bass.
It's the Bass, dude. There's the Bash.
Dude, where did you get this from? Just from your head?
I had a friend that was named Bastion growing up that I played basketball with him, and everyone called him the Bass. It's the Bass, dude. It's the Bash.
It's the Bash. Or is it the Bass or the Bash?
Exactly.
Okay. I have Delfino Plaza on here. Picto Chat.
Found of Dreams was my easy. Really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
that one. My God. It's gorgeous. I think that map is beautiful.
Mementos.
Yep. I had Midgar also.
Nice. Luigi's Mansion.
Good pull.
And Moray Towers, the Splatoon map.
Yeah, for my honorable mentions, Delfino Plaza, Found of Dreams, Midgar, and Mementos.
Oh, also the boxing ring. The Little Mac one, I think is really quite good.
We just need to play more Smash Bros. As a company. Yeah. Like, let's dial that one up. The fact, normally, I feel like when we weren't co-op and everything, I would go and like we'd stream Smash in every major stream that we did. But I haven't played enough Smash Bros. With you and Brady. We got Patreon members to discuss, Connor.
Right on. Thank you to all the dearly beloved members who supported the channel at the highest tier. The show is only made possible by you. Members like Dinkelberg,
Centura,
Wonder JG,
Go Nash,
Neutral Sphere,
Outtree,
Charlie W,
Spriggs,
Bag of Soup,
Calvin M,
Nuke This Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
JC,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Brian VD,
Big Buck,
Metal Nate,
Skrillex,
The Patty Cake,
Yogi,
Dom,
Holden M,
Joe P,
Shane O'Mac,
Colin C,
Brock,
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
New Amsterdam,
Master Diz,
Jesse F,
Lume,
Bad Fella Gage,
Shirt for X1 Skirt,
Hope,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
J-Matt B3,
Ali Ben Ali,
Michael B,
General G Dog,
Forble Matt,
and Brian.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation. We will see you on the next one. Peace out.